Okay, we are back with a late recap of the Browns-Ravens game. Over the weekend, I had some holiday travel and some Christmas parties and family coming over and all that kind of stuff, so this kind of took a back seat to that. Although, for this game for the Browns, there definitely is reason to celebrate. Obviously, beating the Ravens is always fun. I don't care about the circumstances or the records or what the stakes are for these kind of games. I do think that for all of these, whenever the Browns beat the Ravens, I will take it in any way that I can, in any way, shape, or form. I feel like that is always a good thing. So the game, Browns win 13-3. The score alone indicates that there wasn't a whole lot of high-octane offense going on in this one. Although the Browns defense did make some nice plays. The special teams unit getting a blocked field goal is nice, although the special teams unit I thought was mostly fine. Again, for special teams, as long as they're not noticeably bad, as long as they're not noticeably bad, I just kind of feel like I just assume that they're doing good. The only thing that I did worry about for the special teams wise is that Cade York looked like he shanked a couple of those kicks. I know the weather was bad in Cleveland. It was snowy and probably windy, and there was a ton of stuff going on. And also Justin Tucker missed a kick too, which almost never happens. So maybe it's just a bad day for kickers with the wind and everything. And there was, it's hard for any kicker to be successful in those conditions maybe. But a couple of those Cade York kicks just looked bad right from the get-go. And it didn't look like any of the Ravens defenders got their hands on it or anything. Just looked like a couple of bad kicks from Cade York, who you would hope that maybe the way that the organization kind of invested in him with a fourth-round pick, that he might look better right now than he does. It seems like he's gotten worse as the season has progressed. He came out looking really great, obviously, that 58-yard field goal to begin the year. But again, maybe I'm reading too much into this game because it was a bit of a weather game. There was snow and it was gross. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, and it didn't sink the Browns or anything at the end. But still, those two misses from Cade York, not looking so hot right now. But back to some of the more positive stuff, I feel like somebody who had a really good game that gets a little bit of the ire from the fan base was John Johnson, forcing that fumble, and he just seemed to be kind of I think he got that fumble too as well. And he was noticeable all over the place. He was getting some tackles left and right. He was doing a pretty good job in the secondary. The Ravens receiving core having drop issues early and kind of throughout the game, where I think they muffed a punt. Like the first punt of the game, they muffed it. There was some fumbles on some handoffs, although maybe that's just a bit of a disconnect between them and Tyler Huntley, which was probably the main catalyst for the Browns defense being so good, because the Browns running defense didn't do a whole lot of good stuff. That fourth down stop on Picard was a really nice play on the Ravens' first drive, so to make sure they didn't get a whole lot of momentum. And maybe that's why the Ravens weren't so, they weren't super gung-ho about making their run offense, forcing it to work. Maybe that's why they put a little more viability in Tyler Huntley's throwing arm than maybe they should have in this game, because that fourth down stop did kind of turn momentum a little bit, when maybe the Ravens should have just trotted the field goal unit out. But again, the Browns running defense they weren't great. There were times when it looked like the Ravens running offense was just dominating them. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, they looked to be pretty good. The Ravens offensive line getting some push there, but it just seemed like every Tyler Huntley drop back was a win for the Browns defense. Even if the Tyler Huntley pass worked, it just seemed like it was a better option for the Browns defense to just try to hope Tyler Huntley beats him with his arm than the Ravens did on the ground. So maybe that went into it a little bit. Didn't seem like the Ravens kind of stuck to their guns when they needed to, I guess. Maybe I'm just reading that wrong. It's possible that I am. It was a couple days ago, but still, I feel like the Ravens definitely could have taken advantage of their strengths against the Browns a little bit more, but I'm glad that they didn't. Also, the defense did step up, but it's not like every single run was gashing them. They did have some moments of being able to stuff the run and force the Ravens offense to have to throw, like on the 3rd and 10 interception, also in the Browns red zone that Denzel Ward got. That was nice. The offense for the Browns is technically improving week by week. I mean, it scored 6 points against the Texans, 10 points against Cincinnati, and now 13 points against the Ravens. So I guess if you're technically looking for statistical improvement week by week, you're technically getting it. Although, again, none of those games are what you would call like efficient NFL offensive games. Although, again, this game was gross and snowy, whatever. But, you would hope that the offense would show a bit more consistent flash by now, especially with this being their first home game. And Deshaun Watson's been in this offense now for 3 weeks. Although, again, Deshaun Watson looks better than he did against Houston. I think there were less really bad mistakes. I don't think Deshaun Watson threw a pick in this game. There was just he did throw a touchdown to Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I do feel like that touchdown was just kind of more Donovan Peoples-Jones making a couple of Raven defenders miss. Again, he was like marked by two unguarded Ravens defenders, and I think one of them overcommitted, and Donovan Peoples-Jones just did a pretty good job of outmaneuvering them, I guess, to make it 13. That did make the game 13-3, and the rest was just defensive stops, and the Browns just trying to run the clock out. Nick Chubb had a pretty good game. I think he ended with 99 rushing yards, one short of 100. And I know they should just kneel it, but it would have been nice to just give Nick Chubb one more run to try to get that yard. But again, that's just more of an aesthetic thing for me. I hate seeing 99 yards, and like that could have been 100. That could have been a triple-digit game. You know, and when Nick Chubb is, you know, I think Nick Chubb at this point is probably making some kind of Hall of Fame at this point. And when he gets that Hall of Fame speech, when it's like, oh yeah, he had this many 100-yard games, the number's going to be one less than it probably could have been with this thing, but whatever, that's in the future. The thing is, Nick Chubb getting the first down to pretty much ice the game. Ravens with no timeouts, end of the 2-minute warning. Was this game like the prettiest game in the world? No. Do I think that the Browns have a real legitimate chance of making a wild card spot? No. I know they're still technically mathematically alive. So there is a path to making the playoffs and going on an improbable playoff run, and for some people that's going to keep them invested. For me, I'm actually embracing the role that the Browns are playing as spoiler. They're not, they don't have a first round pick to worry about, so you can go ahead and win your games if you want and try to make the offense look a whole lot better and try to put up a whole bunch of points. That's fine by me. And if they still have games against the Steelers left, so I beat the Steelers obviously in Week 18. I don't care the records about that either. Beat the Steelers, please. But if the Browns just decide, if the Browns are just going to try to keep winning games, I think that's going to be good for their momentum and their culture and stuff like that. But as far as actually getting invested into, maybe the Browns can still make the playoffs. If they're still alive Week 18 in that Steelers game, then sure, maybe I'll start paying attention to games that need to fall into the Browns' favor in order for them to win. But as for right now, I'm actually kind of liking the pressure-free environment of the Browns are just going to win and hopefully play spoiler. And if you look at the AFC North standings and now the playoff standings in general, the Baltimore Ravens that was a pretty spoiler kind of game for the Browns. Again, I know that a lot of that is just because Lamar Jackson wasn't able to make the trip and that it was Tyler Huntley at quarterback instead of Lamar Jackson. Although it took a Ravens offense that was already prone to having stop and start issues and just making it worse because the focal point of the offense is now not playing, and it's Tyler Huntley, which is a poor man's version of Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying that he's absolutely trash or anything, but he is the backup quarterback there for a reason. Serviceable backup for sure. I'm not trying to throw shade at Tyler Huntley. He's just not Lamar Jackson. And that obviously showed in this game where the Ravens offense didn't get a whole lot going even when they did. Just missed opportunities and some clutch plays by the Browns, including a blocked field goal by Jordan Elliott, like I mentioned earlier. Special teams doing some good work, and Justin Tucker also just straight up missing a kick headed into halftime. Hardly ever happens, and that kind of set a recipe for this game. And this was a feel-good win for the Browns, obviously beating a divisional opponent at home. Nice to see. Hopefully they can kind of continue this momentum and get some wins rolling here next week against the Saints for them. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into the video, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have something to say in the comments down below. I will see you at the next one.